about this girl who has dreams, who has dreamed this big dream that there will be a day that she will perform a huge concert in her home, in her homeland in the valley of Kashmir. She will have mountains as a backdrop and Dal as the foreground. This was a dream, a manifestation that a girl had. Cut to imagine that this is actually happening, that there is this dream that's coming into reality, that there are mountains in the backdrop, there is Dal in the forefront, but the atmosphere is very tense. Nobody knows what's going to happen. There is tension in the air. There is also anticipation that a female artist is going to perform a huge public concert in a place where even cinema halls have been shut for decades. And this girl braved many storms back home when this manifestation of hers was actually coming true, when she got called to perform this huge public concert in Kashmir. And that girl is me. I could hear my name being chanted loudly by young kids, girls, women of all ages. I could hear a resounding cheer as soon as I took stage. And every song I sang, one after the other, everybody sang along word to word. And for the first time in history, there were people dancing together from all across, all faiths. This concert forged so many bonds in the open skies in Kashmir, and there was music and joy. This followed, many other concerts followed this concert, and eventually, a lot of good things happened. But there is a backstory to even this story. The backstory to this story is that this girl had gone back home to her own homeland as a young 24-year-old in a corporate job, doing very well for herself, and found herself going back to her own home where she was born, but she never lived in. And the whole journey to walking to the home, her father told her how he built this brick by brick with blood, sweat, and tears. And there was a stream and so many things. The idea of home, what it means, what this beautiful place means, which is also marred with a lot of pain, it all came together in that fateful trip that had to change my life. As I walked into the home that we used to own, something in me changed, and that is the day when I told myself that I am going to start a dialogue about my land, which talks about its culture, its people, its heritage, its music, a lot more than what is being spoken. And there's going to be a day when I'm going to come back here and perform, and there's going to be mountains in the backdrop, water in the front, and a band on stage, and happy people dancing. In very questionable circumstances, it was humiliating also. Cut to many years later, I had the heroine's welcome with 5 bodyguards here, 2 cars, 5-star hotels, and everything to welcome me back into my own home, which was also a paradox. So there has always been, what I'm trying to say with this is that power of dream is extremely, extremely strong. And if you can visualize it in your mind, the universe will make it happen for you. And I have seen it with my own eyes and have had my own experience with this. My childhood, going back to that, music was a distant dream, buried under layers of uncertainty. Family faced health challenges, economic struggles, and weight of constant unpredictability. Music was not a luxury, it was like a distant dream. But I had a voice that my mother recognized because she had learned music back home in Kashmir from one of the maestros, Mr. Shambhunath Silpuri. Cut to, there was a time where I finally went into the big city of Bangalore and had my big first taste of fame with Indian Idol. I was a finalist in this famed show that also taught India to dream big again. It came with it when Indian Idol came to India as a format, it came and brought in aspiration to another level for small town Indians. There were lakhs and lakhs of people, and I was watching it at home in Jammu in a small little, uh, home of my own. How there are so many lakhs of singers who are going in lines and lines and lines, and finally a few of them make it. And I used to stand in front of my mirror and sing in the mirror and imagine that, oh, I'm going to do this. But I never told anybody this. These were hidden dreams. Until my brother really forced me to go and audition for this. And there was a part of me that did not want to believe that this could actually happen for me. But all resistance aside, I went into and asked my principal for permission to go to audition. And he took that letter and he just tore it in front of me and threw it in the dustbin. And he said, you have come from a small town and you have come here to study, you please do that. You're not going anywhere. And that created the rebellion inside me. And I said, now I have to go. I wouldn't have otherwise. And then I boarded the next train to Lucknow. He said he'll cut my exam marks or I don't know what. I just forgot about all of that and I went and chased that dream. Sometimes negative experiences can also spark positive motivation in you. And then when I was in the finals, I was again given the hero's welcome and I was back into college with my name on posters and everywhere. So there are going to be times when people will not believe in you. There are going to be times when people will think it's foolhardy. You will think yourself that your dreams are foolhardy. But if you push yourself enough and if you really go for it and if you've got the talent and the belief, then God will help you. And then as Indian Idol happened, then I suddenly had a lot of fame. At a very young age, 17, I turned 18 on Indian Idol, I remember. I had people recognizing me on the roads and people were taking my autographs. That time TV was huge, there was no social media. And I was somebody in my college suddenly. I'm sure you guys know what I mean when I say that. That college fame, everybody is. And I would not say I'm a shy kid, I was never a shy kid, but I was not really putting myself out there a lot. So it was sudden for me. And cut to that kind of fame also disappears very soon. It's frivolous. Anything that has like this heightened, sudden gush, it comes from nowhere, it also dies down faster. And I realized that very earlier in life. And I'm very grateful to God for having taught me that experience. Today I don't do music for fame or for celebrity status. I'm not attached to any of this. The only thing I'm attached to is the pursuit of art and the happiness that it really brings me. So fame is the least thing to be attached to when it comes to pursuit of anything. You don't have to do anything for the joy of narcissism, that, oh my God, I'm going to get, for the ego basically. So if you keep the ego aside and if you keep the pursuit of art pure, you're going to have beautiful experiences that come through via creativity. And also I never wanted my art to put me in a vulnerable spot. I believe that art is supposed to make you feel empowered. It is supposed to make you feel like you can own the world. That's also a feeling I recognized very early and I have always held on to that. Your art should never put you in a position where you feel vulnerable or you feel like people can take advantage of you. It should always give you power in the room. So that is something that again I've always chased. And I realized that, okay, I'm going to do something from scratch. And I started as a little PR executive at the local newspaper. From all of that fame and everything, I went in with all humility in my heart to work the grind. But there was something that was missing. And that is, all of that got catalyzed by the first story I told you about the Kashmir trip. And I decided to pursue music, which was my passion. And I decided to find purpose in it. And the purpose for me was to tell stories, to talk about folk music, to talk about things that are cool to me today, bring in indigenous instruments, be authentic, essentially. For me, authenticity was in the sound, it was in falling in love with my own very, very unique narrative. It was about accepting it, that this language that I'm talking about, I'm going to promote, is spoken by the very least population of this country, maybe 0.001. Maybe nobody will understand what I'm singing. But there was a part of me that believed that music is genuinely beyond language and linguistic barriers. I believed that music is not about language at all. And that if I would go after this dream and if I would create this art for myself, it would mean something to somebody. At that time, there was no blueprint, no proof of concept. I was one of the first people to have done this. Nobody would, there was no, it was not like Punjabi music industry, which is a thriving industry, which has a lot of examples to go by. So I was really chasing an artistic goal that was personal. I wanted to make this music for myself. From all that savings that I made in my corporate career, to staying in the dingy lodge, to recording folk artists from Kashmir, finding them from little villages and telling them come and play on my album, from losing a lot of money, from not knowing what I was doing, from that foolhardiness, also came out a song that became the breakthrough hit of my career, which was Hocus Pocus, which also went into Family Man, then got adapted into several Bollywood films, has become a pop culture moment. And not just has become a pop culture moment, it became the blueprint of what was to be the modern Kashmiri folk pop sound. It was the first pop Kashmiri pop song that way. And nobody had known that music could, in this language, could be heard like this, or music could be made like this in this language. If I had to do what others were doing, if I was not authentic to myself, then a moment like Hocus Pocus would not have happened, and the pop culture impact that it had would not have come. Because it eventually became like this song that people now associate the valley with, even from the film versions of it that have eventually gotten into, which are very beautiful and have come out. So it only, no step you take is too small. There is charge, creative and emotional, and charge in every small step that you take. So never think that what will my small insignificant contribution to this music world will mean. So it's very important to understand that nothing you do is ever small or insignificant. It is extremely important to be secure in your art as an artist. It is extremely important to stick through and not get pressurized by other things that are happening around, and know that whatever you're doing is important and significant enough and will shape a fresh sound and redefine what is possible in your journey. The audience doesn't know what it wants most of the times when it comes to music. So if you're going to make something for others, if you're going to make art for others, or if you're going to create anything for keeping people in mind, then it won't really go much far, because the reality is you have to always and always first do it for yourself and feel happy about it in your own self. Small actions have huge impact. This became a movement. It's for Kashmiri culture itself, and created a shift in Kashmiri music. So even the smallest actions have a big ripple change. Now I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people are curious about usually. That how does it work to be a professional artist when you do music for money and when it becomes your job, when it becomes your profession? So I would say that firstly, it's extremely important to nurture your art. It's extremely important to nurture the artist in you beyond success, beyond what it means to make commercial success with it or money with it. Because it's whether it is taking smaller steps, like doing a regular practice, writing, journal, everything that you can do to keep yourself connected to that pure form of your art. It's going to be very, very rewarding for you if you do that, and it will help you to not get jaded with what comes with the pressures of making money through your creative profession. Last few points that I'm going to touch upon is also my journey as a woman and how I've navigated a very male dominated industry as a female artist. It has had its several challenges from the initial days of my career after Idol, from safety to eventually also just locker room conversations that you're not a part of. You're not in the boys' club, so they absolutely decide to leave you aside most of the times. And it's very true that the culture of any industry in India, is also the music industry, is not extremely conducive to women. You have to, as a woman, always work 100x harder to prove yourself. To for so people believe that you deserve the position that you're in. Most of the times they're going to think that if you got married or you had a child, that this would always be a hobby for you. It's still difficult for women to be taken seriously in situations which are professional. It is We are still at a stage where women have to work a lot more to prove their worth. But I would also hand it to the others who've come before me and the women who've come before me, who've set the path for someone like me to come in today. And I think I'm going to do that for the others too. So thank you so much for listening.